me and my husband, we were going through our first home purchase, and I just loved it. I loved every second of it. And I was like, what if I attempt real estate? I'll just dip my toe in.
Mm-hmm.
I think I can be really good at this. But if I decide I don't like it, we'll go back to dental school and that'll be my backup plan. So I wound up just jumping head first. I took my classes while I was like in the middle of chemo treatment, took the test as soon as I finished all of that, and then interviewed a few brokerages, jumped in, and the rest is kind of history. So I clearly didn't go back to dental school.
Hi, I'm Noelle with today's Brew, where top producing real estate agents share their tips and tricks on taking more listings, making more money, and having fun doing it. On today's episode, we welcome Kayla Brown from Nashville, Tennessee. Hi, Kayla.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am well. Thank you for joining us. Let's hop right into it. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into real estate.
Like many realtors, I kind of stumbled into it. My background is a little different. So I started out in dental school, and about a year into that, I got really sick. It was a second cancer diagnosis for me. And I just decided I wasn't going to go back to school after those treatments. At that point, me and my husband, we were going through our first home purchase, and I just loved it. I loved every second of it. And I was like, what if I attempt real estate? I'll just dip my toe in.
Mm-hmm.
I think I can be really good at this. But if I decide I don't like it, we'll go back to dental school and that'll be my backup plan. Which is wild that was my backup plan and not real estate. But, it is what it is.
You know.
So I wound up just jumping head first. I took my classes while I was like in the middle of chemo treatment, took the test as soon as I finished all of that, and then interviewed a few brokerages, jumped in, and the rest is kind of history. So I clearly didn't go back to dental school.
It's awesome. No, you didn't go back to dental school. So real estate's been going on for about 7 years now.
Yes.
And like you said, dip your toe in it, but you're full-time. Yes. Yeah. How many transactions did you do last year?
Last year, I sold 17 properties.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about how you do that, like your daily schedule. Walk us through and your morning.
Okay, yeah. So things have changed a lot this year. So we've added a new member to our family. He's currently, we're going through the foster system right now, but we're hoping to adopt him this year, which is very exciting. But I think that time blocking is so important and making sure that you have those systems in place. So, I try to make sure that I am kind of on the run by 8:00 in the morning. And that's today. Before baby, I would try to have everything up and running by 7:30 at the absolute latest. I think it's really important for me personally to have that like alone time where nobody's quite awake yet, and I can kind of go through all of my transactions. I kind of keep them up in a bookmark tab in my computer, so I can kind of go up and go through all of my checklists and make sure everybody's being taken care of. And that's like my first thing that I do in the morning. And then I kind of go into like my, problem files. So anybody who needs like special attention that day, they get hit first thing in the morning.
Okay.
Right? And then I kind of have my, power hour. People call them different things, but kind of like that hour of time where you either, call past clients, call old friends, anybody who's in your database who has just kind of like popped into your brain over the past like week or so. I keep kind of a tab of that in my notes.
Okay.
So that I can like easily go through and just say, hey, so-and-so is getting married in 2 weeks. Maybe I give them a call and just say, hey, I was thinking about you. How are you doing? It's usually not real estate related when I call these people. Typically it's just to kind of touch base and genuinely see how they're doing, right? Like I thought about you for a reason, and it's not because I wanted to sell you a house. It's because we spent a lot of time together when you were buying your previous house. And sometimes I think about you.
I think that's great.
Sometimes, you really, you build up these relationships, and it really, I think a lot of it does come from just like a nurturing side,
Absolutely. And your clients become like extended family.
They really do. You care about them, which as an empath is really hard in this business. It'd be great to be able to be one of those people who just turn it off and be like, oh, business is business. So
yeah. No, that's not me either.
That can be tough. And then one thing that I did that has kind of like saved me is like, I can kind of go into almost an analysis paralysis motion, right? When it comes to even something as simple as setting a first buyer consultation appointment with a new lead.
Okay.
Like, well, when do we want to set this? When do you want to meet? Are you available on this day and this day? And I have found that giving people free reign over your schedule actually makes it less likely that they're going to actually nail something down.
I believe it 100%.
Yeah. So in my like time blocking, I've actually made like essentially its own Google Calendar. So I have a whole separate calendar like that that's just time blocking. So when somebody says, hey, would you like to meet for coffee? I have specific times that I've already put in my calendar where it's like, I can have coffee with an agent or a lender or, a vendor referral partner at these times on these days. And once those days get booked, then it's to the next week. Sorry. Yeah. But that has made it so much easier to set these appointments and to not feel like, either you're being bogged down or maybe, oh my gosh, I don't have anything going this week. What am I doing? It's like, no, you do have things going this week. You need to work in your business, not on the business right this second, and vice versa.
Yes.
So
that's a challenge when you work for yourself. Now, do you have a transaction coordinator or anyone on your team?
I don't. I've tried to hire a couple of times. I am having an issue with letting go of control. So, everything that I do is so personal, right? And I think with several transaction coordinators that I've tried, kind of like the outsourced, like they're not on the payroll. I just find that I am missing that like Kayla fluff, like.
Yeah. No, it's for them, it's just very robotic and it's not, I understand. And then you want things done a certain way. You care about your clients, and that's tricky to hand it over and trust that they're going to be taken care of as well as you would. But that's okay if you can do it all on your own. I know that you're starting your family and you did a really good number of transactions last year. What is your goal for 2024?
Yeah. So for 2024, I am really hoping to hit 13 million is my goal.
Nice.
And I think I'm on track to hit that this year, even with kind of my...
No, you can't. Not if you're doing $13 million. That's pretty impressive. So what is the market like in Nashville price point wise? Like your average commission check is how hard is it to get up to 13 million?
I think it depends on what you do, if that makes sense. So, my ideal client is typically in like that, 600 to like 1.2 million is kind of like, that's kind of like my bread and butter, right? Those people really,
that's a great pocket.
Yeah. It's a good pocket. We get along really well. I can go up higher. I can go down lower. Right now I have a $1.2 million house under contract, and I have a $199,000 contract.
There you go. You go.
I think it's important to make sure all of those people are being met. And, it's
providing the same level of service, no matter which side of the scale you're on.
Yeah.
That's awesome. In this business, aside from having all the extra like family adoption and everything that you've gone through, how can you keep a healthy mindset for maybe some viewers that are struggling with their own positivity and keeping going through the day. Maybe it's as simple as 3 deals fell apart and they're frustrated, or maybe it's a grander scale. How can you keep a healthy mindset for them?
Wine helps always. But no, I mean, I try my best to be, as positive as what makes sense for that moment. But, I think that just pushing through and knowing that, you have to get through the rain to get to the rainbow, right? Like this business is really difficult. And I think that making sure that you do have something in place to keep yourself motivated. And, just because you're not working in the business doesn't mean you shouldn't be working on the business. I did probably some of my best work on my business when I was slow. So, I have really slow seasons and I do my best to harness that time and use it as wisely as possible, whether that's ramping up for my next client appreciation event, or maybe it's going through my database and cleaning that up, or getting my Instagram and everything together so I can easily post those. I wish I could tell you that I hadn't had low lows, but I'd say 2 or 3 times a year, I'm like, I'm quitting, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore.
So you're normal. So you're normal.
yeah. I'm human. So, I mean, I think that if you don't go through that moment of what am I doing? Mm-hmm. You might not be doing it right, honestly. I think that that's kind of how we grow and build, is by taking a step back and thinking something's not going right. And there's probably a way that I can fix it. So where's my gap? Mm-hmm. What do I need to fix today? Mm-hmm. Or what can I fix today in order to get to tomorrow? And it's just so important. And just not over analyzing every little thing.
You won't get any work done.
No, it's good enough. It'll be good enough.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much for coming on. You're a breath of fresh air and you bring a lot of light into the business. We really appreciate you. And good luck with all of your adoption.
Thank you. We're very excited and scared.
Sooner than later.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, get ready for that schedule to, like you said, you'll have to really do your time blocking. I know an agent as well and 16-year-old. So, yeah. Right. So it's all of a sudden, when summer's out, you're like, oh wait, no, I need you gone. I work here. This is my office here. So that time blocking becomes super important. And for me, it's the AM hours. You have to get everything done in the AM hours because the afternoon, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. When I have found too that if you can work just super diligently in certain periods, mm-hmm. you can get a lot done. If you just sit down and you're like, this is what I'm doing.
Absolutely. I'm a little bit of a procrastinator, but man, I get it done so well when I do sit down. I'm like, but why would I start earlier when I can do it under all this pressure and do it well in 1 hour?
I know. It's less fun that way,
It is funny. It is. I mean, it's probably not good for your blood pressure, but it gets done, right?
It gets done. And that's where the wine comes in. It's just you drop it back down.
You got to be flexible, especially in real estate. I mean, yesterday I dealt with 3 different clients on all different sides of the town, and one thing's falling apart and other things are going well. And it's oh, welcome to real estate. Keeps you on your toes.
It does. Yeah. And I think particularly in this market, and mm-hmm. It's interesting.
We still have no inventory here. I'm in Virginia Beach.
Okay.
Yeah. So it is interesting to say the least. I mean, there's still multiple offers. They're still guaranteeing appraisal, informational purpose only inspections. Yeah.
Wow. See, in Nashville, we're still kind of seeing that in some areas. It depends on where you are, what your price point is, mm-hmm. and if you priced it correctly or mm-hmm. not. If you overprice, dead in the water.
Yeah.
But if you're just right on the money, it's like multiple offers, appraisal waivers, whatever.
I always say that to my clients. I'm like, you don't go over. I'm like, you go just right, right where you're supposed to be. You want to broaden the market of people coming to see your home, not narrow it and take away potential buyers.
Agreed.
So usually when you have that conversation with them, it goes pretty well. They understand. Yeah. Communication is key.
Man, right. Isn't that great?
Yeah. I know it's getting easier and easier the longer I'm in the business. And actually, the NAR settlement, like you said, it's like, that's actually helped me have conversations with clients a little more freely.
They already know to ask you about it, or?
Yeah, I've had that. And I've just said, or I'm like, are you aware of this? Have you heard of this? Have you seen it in the news? This is what's going on. And I'm more comfortable even talking about commission and saying, we're going to, first we're going to ask for this, then we're going to ask for this. And if not, you are going to have to pay it as the buyer.
Yeah.
But they're fine. And when you word it the way you do. So,
and I think that there will always be a place for full service agents. Mm-hmm. It's like, people are always going to buy a Mercedes. Mercedes people will always drive a Mercedes. People who are going to pay a buyer's agent will always pay a buyer's agent because they see the value.
Absolutely.
And so I think it's unpopular opinion, but I kind of think the NAR settlement is going to be helpful to the industry.
Yeah. Well, I think that it's going to require you to do your job.
I know. It's shocking.
And communicate with your clients and be upfront and be honest. And, and you're going to have to show your value.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's why it's going to be so tough for the young agents now, not young age, but
you're insecure, newer in the business.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in the business, I was like, how do you even find a buyer? I was getting listings more than I was buyers. I was like, where do you even look? Because that famous database, no one wants to call their friends. That's how I was. How about you? Was it easy for you to reach out and call your friends and ask for business?
It was easy for me to ask for business. But again, I'm like very extroverted. So it was just kind of one of those things. It's like, well, I'm here to sell some real estate. Sure. And I would just honestly call people, like close friends who I knew might be interested in buying a house over the next couple of years. Mm-hmm. I would just be like, you want to go look at some houses? I'm bored. I don't have anything to do. And like those people actually turned into clients. The two people that I did that with my first year bought a house.
Awesome.
And not like a little house, like a good, like a house that
like a really nice house,
like solid homes. And I'm just like, okay,
All right. Add that on to my list of how to prospect for business. Let's go tour some fancy homes.
Listen, everyone likes to look at homes, and it helped me too, right? Because it allowed me to go and see the properties and kind of test my chops on actually showings and figure out how to open a lockbox. I know that sounds ridiculous, but these Century Lock lockboxes, the first time you do it,
they're so simple until you have to do it in front of somebody.
I know. So you kind of get all those kinks worked out with people who love you and trust you already. And you're just like, okay, well, here we go.
Well, you are wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me. It was nice to meet you, Noelle.